What if the devil is real? How does this alter our understanding of good and evil? Indeed, the contemplation of such a profound possibility must stir the very depths of our souls. To imagine that beneath the veneer of our everyday existence lies a malevolent force, ancient and cunning, intent on our downfall, is to reconsider the very framework of morality and sin. Could the existence of the devil be the key to unlocking the mysteries of suffering and sin in our world? If we dare entertain this notion, it compels us to grapple with the origins and purposes of our deepest afflictions and the persistent presence of evil in our lives. In this exploration, we shall delve into the enigma of the devil, tracing his dark shadow through the annals of biblical and historical contexts. We will ponder the implications of his existence on our faith and moral perceptions. What if the devil, often dismissed or misunderstood, is the very linchpin that unravels the tangled threads of our theological and philosophical quandaries? By examining the most terrifying and mysterious aspects of the devil, we challenge our understanding of morality and evil, seeking a clearer vision amidst the shadows. We begin with an evocative quote from Scripture, designed to awaken our senses to the gravity of our inquiry. "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour." 1 Peter 5:8. This vivid imagery calls us to a heightened awareness of the peril that may lurk unseen, poised to strike at our vulnerabilities. And consider this, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11:14. The deception of evil clothed in righteousness is perhaps the most perilous threat of all, demanding our utmost discernment and vigilance. In this video, we will embark on a journey to uncover the identity and role of the devil in religious texts and traditions. Our aim is to unearth surprising truths and to challenge long-held beliefs that may have grown stagnant or simplistic. By sifting through the layers of theological and historical interpretations, we hope to offer a more nuanced and comprehensive understanding of the devil, from his mythic origins to his palpable impact on modern faith and culture. We shall begin with the bedrock of our investigation, the biblical foundations. Here, we will analyze the scriptural texts that form the basis of our understanding of the devil, seeking to grasp the intent and context behind these ancient writings. From there, we will move into the rich tapestry of historical and theological interpretations, exploring how perceptions of the devil have evolved over centuries and across cultures. Finally, we will turn our gaze to the present, considering the cultural and modern perspectives that continue to shape our conception of this most enigmatic figure. We will start with scriptural analysis, laying the groundwork with a close examination of the key texts that depict the devil's origins and characteristics. Following this, we will explore the historical and cultural influences that have colored our understanding of Satan, delving into the complex interplay between mythology, theology, and societal change. Lastly, we will reflect on the modern implications of believing in the devil, pondering how this belief influences contemporary faith and ethics, and what it reveals about the enduring nature of evil in our world. Thus, we invite you to join us in this profound inquiry, where we seek not only to understand the devil, but also to deepen our insight into the perennial struggle between light and darkness, good and evil. Let us turn our minds to the ancient texts that serve as the foundation for our understanding of this malevolent figure, the devil. "How you have fallen from heaven, morning star, son of the dawn! You have been cast down to the earth, you who once laid low the nations." Isaiah 14, verse 12. Here we find the poignant lamentation for the one who once shone brightly but is now a fallen being, cast out from the celestial heights to the terrestrial depths. This passage from Isaiah speaks to a profound cosmic tragedy, a tale of pride and downfall that resonates with the timeless struggle between light and darkness. The Bible weaves a complex tapestry around the origin and significance of Satan. In the Old Testament, particularly in the prophetic and wisdom literature, we see glimpses of this dark figure. Yet, it is within the New Testament that the devil takes on a more vivid and sinister form. Through these sacred texts, we discern the role and influence of Satan, portrayed as the tempter, the accuser, and the ultimate adversary of God's divine plan. To understand the devil's characteristics and roles as presented in the Bible, we must journey back to the earliest chapters of Genesis. Here in the story of the fall, we encounter the serpent, a creature of subtlety and cunning, who beguiles Eve with the promise of forbidden knowledge. The serpent's deception leads to humanity's first act of disobedience, thus introducing sin and suffering into the world. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made, Genesis 3:1. This verse captures the essence of the devil's modus operandi: craftiness, deceit, and the insidious undermining of divine order. In the broader biblical narrative, Satan is depicted as a being of considerable power and influence, yet his power is not absolute. He operates within the parameters allowed by God, often serving as an instrument to test and refine human faith. For example, in the book of Job, Satan appears as the accuser, challenging Job's righteousness and prompting a series of trials that test Job's faith to its limits. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them, Job 1:6. This scene illustrates Satan's role within the divine council, where he acts as the adversary, scrutinizing human fidelity. Throughout the Gospels, Jesus himself confronts Satan, most notably during the 40 days in the wilderness. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil, Matthew 4:1. This encounter underscores the devil's role as the tempter, offering Jesus the kingdoms of the world in exchange for worship. The refusal of these temptations by Jesus serves as a powerful repudiation of the devil's dominion and a reaffirmation of divine sovereignty. Moreover, the apocalyptic visions of Revelation paint a vivid portrait of the ultimate fate of Satan. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. Revelation 12:9. This imagery encapsulates the cosmic battle between good and evil, culminating in the final defeat of the devil and his forces. In sum, the biblical portrayal of the devil is multifaceted, encompassing roles as tempter, accuser, and adversary. His characteristics are defined by cunning, deceit, and a relentless opposition to divine order. Yet, despite his formidable presence, the biblical narrative consistently underscores that his power is ultimately subordinate to God's will. The story of the devil, as told through Scripture, is one of a fallen being whose malevolent influence serves to test and refine the faith of humanity, while also setting the stage for the ultimate triumph of good over evil. Theological explanation of the devil's fall from grace is a subject that invites profound contemplation. According to tradition, Satan's story begins in the heights of heaven, in the very presence of God. The passages in Ezekiel 28:12-17 provide a rich, albeit cryptic narrative that many theologians interpret as an allegorical account of Satan's pride and subsequent downfall. You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God. Every precious stone adorned you. Your settings and mountings were made of gold. On the day you were created, they were prepared. You were anointed as a guardian cherub, for so I ordained you. You were on the holy mount of God. You walked among the fiery stones. In these verses, we see a being of extraordinary beauty and wisdom, entrusted with significant authority. Yet, it is this very exalted position that becomes his undoing. Your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth. I made a spectacle of you before kings. Herein lies the core of the devil's tragedy. Pride, that ancient and insidious vice, corrupts his perfect wisdom, leading to rebellion against the Creator. This celestial rebellion and the subsequent casting down from heaven mark the genesis of evil as an active force in the cosmos. a profound distortion of the created order. The fall of Satan is not merely a tale of individual hubris, but a cosmic rupture, a fracturing of harmony that reverberates throughout creation. Theologically, it underscores the peril of pride and the inherent danger in the elevation of self above all else. It is a potent reminder that even beings of extraordinary purity and power are not immune to corruption. Exploring the role of the devil as tempter and accuser in the Bible reveals a figure whose influence permeates the human narrative from the earliest days of Eden to the prophetic visions of the apocalypse. In his role as tempter, Satan seeks to disrupt the divine order, leading humanity astray through deception and lies. The Genesis account of the fall, where the serpent entices Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, epitomizes this role. "You will not surely die," the serpent assures, casting doubt on God's command and introducing the concept of disobedience. In the book of Job, Satan appears in the heavenly court as the accuser, challenging the integrity of human faith. Does Job fear God for nothing, he asks, suggesting that Job's righteousness is contingent upon his blessings. God permits Satan to test Job, stripping away his wealth, his family, and his health to prove the depth and resilience of Job's faith. This narrative presents Satan as a figure who, under divine permission, brings trials that test and purify human faith. The theological implications of the devil's actions and influence are profound. As the tempter, Satan represents the external force that seeks to exploit and magnify human weaknesses. His temptations are not overt acts of compulsion, but subtle suggestions that play upon existing desires and fears. This role illuminates the nature of sin as a distortion of the good, a turning away from God's will through choices that seem, at least momentarily, to promise greater satisfaction. As the accuser, Satan's role is more judicial, presenting humanity's failings before God. This aspect of his character emphasizes the reality of spiritual warfare, where the stakes are the souls of men and women, and the battleground is the human heart and mind. The devil's accusations seek to undermine faith, erode confidence in God's goodness, and sow despair. Furthermore, the devil's activities serve a paradoxical function within the divine economy. While Satan acts out of malice and rebellion, his actions are permitted within the broader scope of God's providential plan. The trials and temptations he brings are used by God to strengthen and refine the faithful, turning what was meant for evil into an instrument of sanctification and growth. The theological exploration of the devil's origins and roles reveals a being whose existence and actions are deeply intertwined with the human experience of sin, suffering, and redemption. The devil's fall from grace, driven by pride, sets the stage for his enduring role as tempter and accuser, challenging humanity's faith and integrity. Yet, within the grand narrative of Scripture, his malevolent efforts are ultimately subverted by divine wisdom, which transforms trials into opportunities for deeper reliance on and fidelity to God. Thus, the story of the devil is not merely one of unrelenting evil, but also a testament to the triumph of divine grace over the darkest aspects of existence. In our exploration of the devil, it is essential to cast our gaze beyond the boundaries of Judeo-Christian tradition and into the vast panorama of world mythologies and religions. The devil, as a figure of supreme malevolence, finds counterparts in various cultural narratives, each reflecting the unique ethos and spiritual preoccupations of their societies. Consider, for instance, the figure of Loki in Norse mythology. Like Satan, Loki is a being of immense cunning and deceit, a trickster who sows discord and chaos. However, unlike the devil, Loki's mischief often straddles the line between malevolent and merely mischievous. His actions, though frequently destructive, are not always motivated by pure malice, reflecting a more ambivalent view of chaos and order in the Norse worldview. In Zoroastrianism, we encounter Angra Mainyu, or Ahriman, the spirit of destruction and the eternal enemy of Ahura Mazda, the spirit of creation and goodness. This dualistic framework presents a cosmic struggle reminiscent of the biblical conflict between God and Satan. However, Zoroastrian dualism posits a more balanced opposition, with Angra Mainyu being an equal and opposite force to Ahura Mazda, rather than a subordinate fallen angel. Turning to Hinduism, we find figures such as Ravana, the 10-headed demon king in the Ramayana, who embodies arrogance and unrighteousness. While Ravana's evil is profound, his character is also complex, imbued with noble qualities and tragic flaws. This multifaceted portrayal contrasts with the more unambiguously evil depiction of the devil in Christian tradition. Similarly, in Buddhism, the figure of Mara represents temptation and desire, seeking to obstruct the path to enlightenment. Mara's role as the tempter who tries to dissuade Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, from his spiritual quest, parallels Satan's temptation of Christ in the wilderness. Yet Mara's temptations are more psychological and internal, reflecting Buddhism's focus on the inner struggle against delusion and attachment. The similarities and differences between the biblical devil and these cultural representations of evil highlight the diverse ways in which humanity conceptualizes and confronts the problem of evil. While the devil in Christian tradition is often depicted as an external adversary, these other figures sometimes embody more nuanced or internal aspects of the struggle between good and evil. The figure of the devil has exerted a profound influence on Jewish and Christian literature and beliefs, shaping the moral and spiritual landscape of these faiths. In the Jewish tradition, the concept of Satan evolved significantly over time. Early references, such as in the Book of Job, depict Satan as a member of the divine court, a sort of heavenly prosecutor who tests the righteousness of humans. This portrayal lacks the fully developed notion of a rebellious fallen angel seen in later Christian theology. With the advent of Christianity, the devil's role becomes more defined and sinister. Influenced by intertestamental literature and apocalyptic writings, early Christian texts present Satan as the embodiment of cosmic rebellion and the archenemy of Christ. The Gospels, particularly in the accounts of Jesus' temptation and exorcisms, emphasize Satan's role as the tempter and corrupter of humanity. The evolution of the concept of the devil over time is marked by a growing emphasis on his malevolent autonomy and his opposition to God's salvific plan. In the early church, figures like St. Augustine articulated a theology of the devil that underscored his role in the fall of humanity and the perpetuation of sin. Augustine's writings on original sin and the devil's influence profoundly shaped Western Christian thought, embedding the notion of a pervasive and personal evil within the fabric of Christian doctrine. Medieval Christianity further developed these themes, often through vivid artistic and literary depictions of the devil and hell. The devil became a central figure in the moral imagination of the Middle Ages, appearing in morality plays, theological treatises, and popular folklore. The fear of demonic influence and possession permeated the culture, leading to practices such as exorcism and the persecution of supposed witches. The Reformation and the Enlightenment periods saw shifts in the portrayal of the devil, reflecting broader theological and intellectual currents. Protestant reformers like Martin Luther and John Calvin maintained a robust belief in the devil's reality and influence, often interpreting personal and societal ills as manifestations of his power. However, the Enlightenment brought a more skeptical and rationalistic approach, with some thinkers questioning the literal existence of the devil and interpreting him as a symbol of human evil and psychological conflict. In contemporary times, the concept of the devil continues to evolve, influenced by modern theology, psychology, and cultural trends. While some Christians maintain a traditional belief in the devil as a real and personal being, others interpret him more metaphorically, seeing the devil as a representation of systemic evil, moral failure, or inner conflict. This diversity of perspectives reflects the enduring complexity and adaptability of the devil as a theological and cultural figure. The devil's impact on Judeo-Christian tradition is vast and multifaceted, shaping beliefs about sin, temptation, and the nature of evil. From his early appearances as a heavenly accuser to his later role as the arch-enemy of God, the devil's character has evolved, reflecting changing theological and cultural understandings. His comparisons with other evil entities across world religions further enrich our understanding, highlighting both unique and shared elements in humanity's grappling with the problem of evil. In our quest to comprehend the devil, we must first grapple with the notion of him as the personification of evil in the world. This concept is deeply rooted in the Judeo-Christian tradition, where the devil emerges not merely as a character within the narrative, but as the embodiment of all that is malevolent and corrupt. From the earliest biblical accounts, we see the devil acting as the adversary, the one who opposes the good and seeks to pervert the divine order. The story of Job offers a stark portrayal of this role. Here, Satan is the accuser, challenging Job's piety and suggesting that his faith is solely a product of his prosperity. One day, the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. Job 1:6. This scene underscores the devil's role in testing and tempting humanity, probing the depths of human integrity and devotion. The New Testament continues this theme, presenting the devil as the ultimate tempter and deceiver. Jesus' encounter with Satan in the wilderness is perhaps the most vivid example of this. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil, Matthew 4:1. Here, the devil seeks to divert Jesus from his mission through a series of temptations that appeal to physical needs, power, and spiritual pride. This narrative not only highlights the devil's cunning, but also serves as a testament to the endurance and steadfastness required to resist such profound evil. Academically, the devil's portrayal as the personification of evil has been a subject of extensive debate. Some scholars argue that this figure serves as a necessary foil to God, providing a means to explore the nature of free will and moral choice. Without the presence of evil, the argument goes, the concept of good would lose its significance. The devil's existence, therefore, is integral to the moral and spiritual drama that unfolds within the biblical narrative. Others, however, view the devil more metaphorically, as a symbol of the internal struggles that each individual faces. This perspective aligns with certain psychological interpretations that see the devil as representing the darker aspects of the human psyche, those impulses and desires that lead one away from virtue and towards sin. In this view, the devil is not a literal being, but a powerful allegory for the moral conflicts inherent in the human condition. When we turn to the attributes traditionally ascribed to the devil, we encounter a being of immense power and pervasive influence. Theological and philosophical analyses have long debated the extent of these attributes, particularly the notions of omnipotence, omniscience, and omnipresence. Omnipotence, or all-powerfulness, is often ascribed to the devil in a relative sense. While he is depicted as having significant power to influence and corrupt, his power is not absolute. He remains, in Christian theology, subordinate to God's ultimate authority. This limitation is crucial, for it underscores the fundamental Christian belief in the sovereignty of God over all creation, including the forces of evil. Omniscience, the attribute of all-knowing, similarly applies to the devil in a limited manner. The devil is often portrayed as possessing profound knowledge, particularly of human weaknesses and desires. This knowledge enables him to craft temptations that are uniquely tailored to each individual's vulnerabilities. However, his knowledge is not infinite. He cannot foretell the future with certainty, nor fully comprehend the mysteries of God's will. This partial omniscience makes him a formidable adversary, but one whose understanding is ultimately flawed and incomplete. Omnipresence, the ability to be present everywhere simultaneously, is perhaps the most contentious attribute. In classical Christian thought, only God is truly omnipresent. The devil, by contrast, exerts his influence through his legions of demons, each acting on his behalf in various places. This delegation of evil ensures that his presence is felt widely, yet it is a distributed rather than a singular omnipresence. The devil's reach is extensive, but it is not boundless. Philosophically, these attributes raise profound questions about the nature of evil and its place in the cosmos. If the devil is powerful, knowledgeable, and influential, what does this suggest about the nature of the world in which we live? Some contemporary theological perspectives suggest that the devil's attributes serve as a mirror to human agency. Just as the devil wields power and knowledge, so too do humans possess the capacity for great good or evil, depending on how they exercise their free will. The exploration of the devil as the personification of evil reveals a figure of significant complexity. His roles as tempter, accuser, and adversary underscore the moral and spiritual challenges that define the human experience. The attributes ascribed to him, while formidable, highlight both his power and his limitations, reminding us that, in the Christian worldview, evil is ultimately subordinate to the greater good. This duality invites us to reflect deeply on the nature of our own struggles with morality, temptation, and the ever-present possibility of redemption. In the vast and intricate tapestry of religious thought, the figure of the devil emerges with remarkable consistency across the Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Yet, despite these shared themes, each tradition offers a unique lens through which to view this malevolent entity. In Judaism, the concept of the devil is less pronounced than in Christianity. The Hebrew Bible introduces us to Satan in the book of Job, where he appears as a member of the divine council. Here, Satan acts as the accuser, testing Job's righteousness under God's permission. One day the angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them, Job 1:6. This depiction portrays Satan not as an independent source of evil, but as a servant of God, tasked with testing the faith of humanity. The Hebrew term Satan means adversary or accuser, reflecting a functional rather than personal role. Later Jewish texts, such as the apocryphal writings and the Dead Sea Scrolls, begin to ascribe more autonomy and malevolence to Satan, drawing closer to the Christian conception. These developments show an evolving understanding within Judaism, influenced by surrounding cultures and theological reflections. Christianity, inheriting and transforming these Jewish concepts, presents a more detailed and personified devil. The New Testament portrays Satan as a fallen angel, a former servant of God who rebelled, and now leads a cosmic struggle against divine authority. This is vividly illustrated in the Gospels, where Jesus faces Satan in the wilderness. Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Matthew 4:8-9. This temptation narrative emphasizes Satan's role as the tempter and deceiver, seeking to divert Jesus from his mission. The Christian devil, also known as Lucifer, is often depicted with a tragic grandeur, a being of light who fell due to pride. This portrayal is elaborated in works like John Milton's Paradise Lost, where Satan's character combines majesty with malice, embodying the profound complexity of evil. In Islam, the devil or Iblis, also known as Shaitan, shares similarities with both Jewish and Christian traditions. The Quran recounts how Iblis, a jinn created from smokeless fire, refused to bow to Adam and was cast out of heaven as a result. And mention when we said to the angels, "Prostrate to Adam," and they prostrated except for Iblis. He was of the jinn and departed from the command of his Lord. Quran 18:50. This act of defiance stems from Iblis's pride and his belief in his superiority over humans. Iblis's role in Islam is multifaceted. He is the tempter who leads humanity astray, whispering evil suggestions into the hearts of men. Unlike the Christian concept of a fallen angel, Iblis retains his free will and continues to operate under God's overarching sovereignty. The Quranic narrative emphasizes the moral and spiritual struggle between following God's guidance and succumbing to Iblis's temptations. The figure of the devil in these three traditions highlights both shared beliefs and significant differences. Each tradition recognizes the devil as a force of opposition and temptation, yet the nature and role of this being vary. Judaism's accuser, Christianity's fallen angel, and Islam's rebellious jinn reflect different theological emphases on the nature of evil and free will. For interfaith dialogue, these similarities and differences offer rich ground for discussion. Understanding the devil's role across these traditions can foster deeper insight into each faith's approach to the problem of evil and the human condition. It underscores the universal struggle against moral and spiritual corruption, while also respecting the unique perspectives that each tradition brings to this profound issue. Moving beyond the Abrahamic faiths, we encounter different conceptions of evil in Eastern philosophies, particularly in Hinduism and Buddhism. These traditions provide contrasting perspectives that enrich our understanding of the devil and the nature of evil. In Hinduism, the concept of a singular personification of evil like the devil is less prevalent. Instead, Hindu mythology presents various asuras, demons, and rakshasas, malevolent beings, who oppose the devas, gods, and dharma, cosmic order. Figures like Ravana, the demon king in the Ramayana, embody this opposition. Ravana's arrogance and desire for power lead him to abduct Sita, prompting a divine struggle with Rama, her husband, and an avatar of Vishnu. The story of Ravana, while depicting profound evil, also portrays complexity in his character, including devotion and scholarship. This multifaceted portrayal suggests that evil is not an absolute state, but a deviation from dharma, driven by desires and ignorance. The cyclical nature of Hindu cosmology, with its emphasis on karma and reincarnation, offers a framework where evil actions lead to consequences in future lives, guiding souls towards eventual liberation, moksha. Buddhism presents a different approach, focusing on internal rather than external sources of evil. Mara, the tempter, embodies the psychological and spiritual obstacles to enlightenment. During Siddhartha Gautama's quest for enlightenment, Mara confronts him with desires, fears, and doubts. Mara, the evil one, approached the Blessed One and said, "Let the Blessed One now attain final nirvana. Let the Sugata now attain final nirvana. Now is the time for the Blessed One's final nibbana." Mahaparinibbana Sutta. Mara's temptations are symbolic of the internal struggles against desire, attachment, and ignorance that impede the path to enlightenment. This perspective emphasizes self-overcoming and the transformative power of insight and mindfulness. Unlike the externalized personified evil of the devil, Mara's presence is a reminder of the mind's capacity to generate suffering through delusion. The differences between these Eastern philosophies and the Abrahamic traditions reveal varied understandings of evil. While the devil in Abrahamic faiths often represents an external, personal force of opposition, Eastern philosophies focus more on internal states and the consequences of actions. Hinduism's emphasis on karma and reincarnation frames evil as a part of the cosmic order, a deviation that ultimately leads to learning and growth. Buddhism's focus on the mind's role in creating suffering highlights the importance of inner transformation and enlightenment. These perspectives offer valuable insights into the nature of evil, suggesting that it is not merely an external adversary, but also an internal challenge. The devil, as a personification of evil, serves as a powerful symbol across cultures and religions, embodying the eternal struggle against forces that seek to disrupt harmony and goodness. By comparing these diverse views, we gain a richer understanding of the multifaceted nature of evil and the varied paths humanity takes in its quest for truth and righteousness. The notion of the devil as a necessary evil is one that thrusts us into the heart of some of the most profound and paradoxical questions of theology and philosophy. It is a concept that challenges our understanding of the moral universe and invites us to grapple with the complexities of free will, moral choice, and the nature of suffering. The paradoxical nature of the devil as necessary for the existence of free will is rooted in the idea that without the presence of evil, there can be no true choice. In a world devoid of temptation and wrongdoing, the concept of virtue loses its meaning. It is only through the possibility of choosing evil that the choice of good becomes significant. This idea is eloquently captured in the narrative of the fall, where Adam and Eve's decision to eat the forbidden fruit introduces sin into the world, but also establishes the framework for moral agency. Theologically, this paradox is often discussed in terms of theodicy, the defense of God's goodness in the presence of evil. St. Augustine, for example, argued that evil exists not because God created it, but because he allows it as a consequence of free will. Augustine posited that the ability to choose freely, even if it means choosing wrongly, is a greater good than a world of automatons who can do no wrong. This perspective suggests that the devil's role as the tempter is integral to the exercise of human freedom. Embracing the mystery of evil and suffering involves acknowledging that our finite minds may never fully comprehend the divine purposes. The book of Job offers a poignant example of this acceptance. Job, a righteous man, suffers immense loss and torment at the hands of Satan, yet his story concludes with a recognition of the limits of human understanding. "Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me if you understand." Job 38:4. God's response to Job underscores the vastness of divine wisdom and the inscrutability of his ways. Philosophically, the existence of the devil as a necessary evil can also be seen as a reflection of the dualistic nature of the human experience. Good and evil, light and darkness, are often portrayed as complementary forces that define each other. This duality is evident in many cultural and religious narratives, suggesting a universal grappling with the coexistence of opposing forces. The devil, in this sense, serves as a counterpoint to the divine, highlighting the contrast and tension that define the human moral landscape. The impact on believers' faith is multifaceted. For some, the recognition of the devil's role in the cosmic order can be a source of comfort, providing a framework for understanding the presence of evil and suffering. It allows believers to see their struggles and temptations as part of a larger divine plan, where the battle against evil is both meaningful and necessary. However, this perspective also poses significant challenges. It requires a deep and sometimes painful acceptance of the presence of suffering and the recognition that evil is not merely an aberration, but an integral part of the moral universe. This can lead to existential questions and doubts about the nature of divine justice and goodness. For many believers, the resolution of this paradox lies in the hope and promise of redemption. The narrative of the devil's ultimate defeat, as depicted in the book of Revelation, provides a vision of a future where evil is vanquished and the moral order is restored. And the great dragon was thrown down, that ancient serpent, who is called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was thrown down to the earth, and his angels were thrown down with him. Revelation 12:9. This eschatological hope reassures believers that despite the present reality of evil, the ultimate victory belongs to God. The exploration of the devil as a necessary evil invites us to engage with some of the most profound and challenging aspects of faith. It is a journey that requires us to wrestle with the complexities of free will, the mystery of suffering, and the paradoxical nature of evil. Through this engagement, we gain a deeper understanding of the moral and spiritual dimensions of our existence, finding meaning and purpose even in the face of the most daunting adversities. In the silent deserts and hidden caves of the ancient Near East, archaeologists have unearthed artifacts and texts that offer glimpses into the shadowy figure of the devil. Among the most significant discoveries are the Qumran texts, also known as the Dead Sea Scrolls. These ancient manuscripts, preserved in the arid environment of the Judean desert, include references that shed light on the beliefs and practices of the Jewish sects of the Second Temple period. The Qumran community, often identified with the Essenes, produced a wealth of literature that provides valuable insights into their worldview. Among these texts, we find references to Belial, a name often associated with Satan or a demonic figure. Belial is depicted as the leader of the forces of darkness, in constant opposition to the forces of light. This dualistic vision of cosmic conflict resonates with later Christian depictions of Satan. For instance, the War Scroll 1QM describes an apocalyptic battle between the sons of light and the sons of darkness, with Belial as the principal antagonist. Another remarkable find includes the Damascus document, which also mentions Belial and emphasizes the ongoing struggle between good and evil. These texts reflect a heightened awareness of demonic forces and a belief in the active presence of evil in the world, concepts that would later be integral to Christian theology. Beyond Qumran, other ancient manuscripts provide further evidence of demonic figures. For example, the Testament of Solomon, a pseudepigraphal work, presents a detailed account of King Solomon's interactions with various demons. This text, though not canonical, offers a fascinating glimpse into the ancient understanding of demonic hierarchies and the power attributed to these malevolent beings. The implications of these discoveries are profound, both for confirming and challenging traditional interpretations of the devil. The Qumran texts and other ancient manuscripts illuminate the evolution of the concept of Satan from a more ambiguous figure in early Jewish thought to the more defined antagonist in Christian theology. Firstly, these findings confirm that the notion of a cosmic struggle between good and evil was not unique to early Christianity, but was also present in Jewish sectarian thought. The depiction of Belial in the Qumran texts as a malevolent force opposing the divine order aligns with later Christian portrayals of Satan. This continuity suggests that early Christians drew upon existing Jewish traditions to articulate their understanding of the devil. Secondly, the detailed descriptions of demonic figures in texts like the Testament of Solomon challenge the simplistic view of Satan as a solitary figure. Instead, they present a more complex picture of a demonic hierarchy, with various spirits playing distinct roles in the cosmic battle. This complexity enriches our understanding of ancient beliefs about the supernatural and the nature of evil. Academic debates have flourished around these discoveries, with mainstream and alternative views offering different interpretations. Mainstream scholars tend to emphasize the historical and cultural context of these texts, viewing them as reflective of the theological developments of their time. They argue that the evolution of the devil's character is a natural progression of religious thought, influenced by internal and external factors, including interactions with neighboring cultures and philosophical ideas. Alternative views, however, often delve into the more esoteric aspects of these texts, suggesting that they reveal hidden knowledge about the spiritual realm. Some scholars propose that the detailed accounts of demonic activities in these manuscripts indicate a more profound and mystical understanding of the forces of evil, one that transcends mere theological constructs. The discovery of these ancient texts has also sparked debates about the nature of scriptural authority and interpretation. For instance, the references to demonic figures in non-canonical works like the Testament of Solomon raise questions about the boundaries of sacred literature and the criteria used to determine the canon. These debates underscore the dynamic and contested nature of religious tradition, where new findings can challenge long-held beliefs and prompt a re-evaluation of accepted doctrines. The relevant archaeological discoveries of texts like those found at Qumran and other ancient manuscripts have significantly enriched our understanding of the devil and demonic figures. They provide crucial evidence of the historical development of these concepts and offer a more nuanced view of the ancient world's spiritual landscape. As scholars continue to study and interpret these texts, our comprehension of the complex interplay between good and evil and the role of the devil in religious thought will undoubtedly deepen, inviting us to reconsider and expand our perspectives on the dark side of faith. To grasp the profound influences that shape the biblical conception of the devil, we must immerse ourselves in the cultural and political context of the ancient Near East. This region, a fertile cradle of civilizations, was a tapestry of diverse peoples, languages, and religions. It was within this vibrant milieu that the biblical texts were written, reflecting and reacting to the myriad influences surrounding them. The ancient Near East was a land of great empires: Egyptians, Babylonians, Assyrians, and Persians, each contributing to a complex cultural interchange. The Israelites, emerging as a distinct people within this environment, inevitably interacted with these dominant cultures. Such interactions were not merely superficial, but penetrated deep into their religious and philosophical outlooks. The biblical writers, in articulating their understanding of good and evil, drew upon and reinterpreted motifs and ideas prevalent in the broader Near Eastern context. Consider the story of the fall in Genesis, with its serpent tempting Eve to disobedience. This narrative bears striking resemblances to other Near Eastern myths, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, where a serpent also plays a pivotal role in the loss of immortality. The biblical authors, while embedding these familiar motifs, transformed them to fit their unique theological framework. The serpent, in the Genesis account, is not just a trickster, but an embodiment of a more profound rebellion against divine order, prefiguring later conceptions of Satan. The comparative analysis with neighboring cultures reveals both the shared heritage and the distinct innovations of the biblical texts. For instance, the figure of the adversary or tempter appears in various guises across different traditions. In Zoroastrianism, a prominent religion in Persia, Angra Mainyu, or Ahriman, is the evil spirit opposing Ahura Mazda, the good deity. This dualistic framework, emphasizing the cosmic battle between good and evil, parallels the later Jewish and Christian narratives of Satan's rebellion and opposition to God. Such dualism found in Zoroastrianism likely influenced the development of Jewish thought during the Babylonian exile and subsequent Persian period. The exiled Israelites, immersed in a milieu rich with Zoroastrian ideas, adapted and reinterpreted these concepts within their monotheistic worldview. This cross-pollination is evident in the evolving depiction of Satan, who transitions from a mere accuser in early texts to the archenemy of God in later writings. Syncretism, the blending of different religious and cultural elements, played a crucial role in the evolution of the devil's image. For example, Hellenistic influences during the intertestamental period introduced Greek philosophical ideas into Jewish thought. The Hellenistic era, following the conquests of Alexander the Great, saw the fusion of Greek and Eastern elements, creating a rich intellectual environment. Jewish texts from this period, such as the Book of Enoch, reflect these syncretic influences, portraying a more elaborate hierarchy of evil spirits and a cosmic battle akin to Greek mythology. The merging of different traditions can also be seen in the apocryphal and pseudepigraphal literature, where the devil is depicted with attributes borrowed from various cultural sources. The Testament of Solomon, for instance, presents demons with specific roles and powers, echoing the detailed demonologies found in Greek and Near Eastern traditions. This synthesis of ideas enriched the Jewish and later Christian conceptions of the devil, making them more nuanced and comprehensive. The historical accuracy of biblical events related to the devil and demonic figures has been a subject of extensive scholarly debate. Archaeological discoveries and historical research provide both confirmation and challenges to traditional interpretations. For example, the discovery of the Ugaritic texts at Ras Shamra revealed a wealth of information about Canaanite religion and its pantheon, offering parallels to biblical descriptions of demonic forces. These texts describe deities and spirits that resemble biblical demons, suggesting that the Israelites borrowed and recontextualized these figures within their own religious framework. The Canaanite god Baal, for instance, is often depicted as a rival to Yahweh in the biblical narrative. Over time, such deities and their associated myths may have been demonized, contributing to the portrayal of evil entities in the Bible. Furthermore, historical records from the Babylonian and Persian empires provide context for the development of Jewish demonology. The Persian influence, particularly through Zoroastrian dualism, introduced a more structured concept of cosmic evil, which the Israelites integrated into their theology. This historical interplay is crucial for understanding the transformation of Satan from a servant of God into his adversary. Yet, historical evidence also presents challenges. The lack of direct archaeological evidence for certain biblical events and characters often leads to debates about their historical veracity. For instance, while the concept of Satan as the tempter in the wilderness is central to the New Testament, there is little extra-biblical evidence to support the specific narratives. Scholars must rely on textual analysis and comparative studies to piece together the historical and cultural influences that shaped these stories. The cultural and historical influences on the biblical conception of the devil are profound and multifaceted. The ancient Near Eastern context provided a fertile ground for the development of these ideas, enriched by interactions with neighboring cultures and the syncretism of various religious traditions. Archaeological discoveries and historical research continue to illuminate this complex evolution, offering insights that confirm and challenge traditional interpretations. As we explore these influences, we gain a deeper understanding of the rich tapestry of beliefs that have shaped our conception of the devil and the enduring struggle between good and evil. In the annals of history and the depths of human experience, few phenomena evoke as much dread and fascination as demonic possession and the rites of exorcism. These occurrences, documented across various cultures and epochs, challenge our understanding of reality and the unseen forces that might inhabit it. One of the most infamous cases of demonic possession is that of Anneliese Michel, a young German woman who underwent numerous exorcisms in the 1970s. Anneliese, who was diagnosed with epilepsy and psychiatric disorders, displayed behaviors that her family and local clergy believed to be signs of demonic possession. These included aversion to religious objects, speaking in languages she did not know, and extraordinary physical strength. Despite medical treatment, her condition worsened, leading to a series of exorcisms performed by 2 Catholic priests. Tragically, Anneliese died of malnutrition and dehydration in 1976, raising profound questions about the interplay between faith, mental illness, and supernatural beliefs. Another well-documented case is that of the exorcism of Roland Doe, which inspired the famous novel and film The Exorcist. In the late 1940s, a young boy known by the pseudonym Roland Doe underwent exorcisms conducted by Roman Catholic priests after experiencing violent behavior, unexplainable sounds, and objects moving without physical cause. The detailed diaries kept by the priests involved recount harrowing episodes where Roland spoke in guttural voices, exhibited superhuman strength, and displayed knowledge of hidden things. The successful conclusion of the exorcisms, with Roland returning to normal life, remains a source of intrigue and debate. From a scientific standpoint, many cases of alleged demonic possession can be explained by psychological and neurological disorders. Conditions such as dissociative identity disorder, DID, schizophrenia, and epilepsy can produce symptoms that resemble those described in possession narratives. For instance, DID, formerly known as multiple personality disorder, can cause individuals to exhibit different personalities with distinct voices, memories, and behaviors. Schizophrenia can lead to hallucinations and delusions, while temporal lobe epilepsy can provoke intense spiritual or supernatural experiences. Neuroscientific research has shown that certain brain anomalies or dysfunctions can induce states of altered consciousness, leading to behaviors and experiences traditionally associated with possession. The brain's complex chemistry and electrical activity, when disrupted, can manifest in ways that ancient and modern societies alike might interpret as the influence of external spirits or demons. However, purely scientific explanations often fall short of addressing the profound spiritual and cultural dimensions of these experiences. For many, the symptoms of possession are not merely medical conditions, but are deeply intertwined with their faith and worldview. Exorcisms, in this context, serve not only as therapeutic rituals, but as acts of reclaiming the sacred order from perceived supernatural chaos. The interpretation of demonic activity spans a broad spectrum, from literal belief in malevolent spiritual entities to metaphorical understandings of evil and inner turmoil. For many religious traditions, the devil and his minions are real, personal beings who seek to corrupt and destroy humanity. This belief is grounded in scriptural accounts, such as the Gospels' descriptions of Jesus casting out demons and the apostolic writings warning of Satan's prowling presence. Literal interpretations hold that possession is a direct attack by demonic forces, necessitating the intervention of exorcism to liberate the afflicted and restore them to spiritual health. Conversely, metaphorical views consider demonic possession as symbolic of deeper psychological and social issues. This perspective aligns with the insights of modern psychology and psychiatry, which frame possession as an expression of subconscious fears, unresolved traumas, or societal pressures. From this viewpoint, the devil represents the personification of internal struggles and the darker aspects of the human psyche. The metaphorical approach can also extend to societal critiques, where demonic imagery is used to describe systemic evils or collective moral failings. For example, the concept of corporate demons in liberation theology interprets demonic forces as metaphors for oppressive structures and institutions that dehumanize and exploit the vulnerable. Reconciling faith with historical and scientific evidence is a delicate balance that requires humility, openness, and a willingness to embrace mystery. Believers often find themselves at the intersection of ancient traditions and contemporary knowledge, seeking to understand their experiences through both lenses. From the standpoint of faith, the reality of demonic possession and exorcism is affirmed by centuries of tradition and personal testimony. Religious communities emphasize the spiritual warfare aspect of these phenomena, viewing them as tangible manifestations of the ongoing struggle between good and evil. The rites of exorcism, with their prayers, rituals, and sacred symbols, are seen as powerful means of invoking divine intervention and protection. On the other hand, reason and evidence demand rigorous examination of the causes and contexts of possession-like phenomena. Scientific inquiry does not negate the spiritual dimension, but seeks to understand the mechanisms underlying these experiences. This approach encourages compassionate and holistic care for individuals, integrating medical, psychological, and spiritual support. The exploration of unexplained phenomena, such as possession and exorcism, invites us to confront the limits of our understanding and the profound depths of human experience. Whether viewed through the lens of literal belief or metaphorical symbolism, these phenomena challenge us to consider the complex interplay of mind, spirit, and culture. By bridging faith and reason, we can approach these mysteries with a spirit of inquiry and reverence, honoring the diverse ways in which humanity grapples with the presence of evil and the quest for redemption. Throughout history, the devil has been a potent symbol in art and literature, capturing the imagination and embodying the deepest fears and moral struggles of humanity. This malevolent figure, with his myriad forms and depictions, has been used to personify evil, provoke moral reflection, and illustrate the eternal battle between good and evil. In medieval art, the devil often appeared as a monstrous, grotesque figure, adorned with horns, cloven hooves, and bat-like wings. These representations, found in illuminated manuscripts, church frescoes, and sculptures, aimed to convey the terrifying and repulsive nature of evil. The tympanum of many Gothic cathedrals depicted the Last Judgment, with the devil presiding over the damned, reinforcing the moral consequences of sin and the fearsome power of demonic forces. During the Renaissance, artists like Hieronymus Bosch and Pieter Bruegel the Elder took the portrayal of the devil to new heights of creativity and detail. Bosch's The Garden of Earthly Delights and Bruegel's The Fall of the Rebel Angels are teeming with demonic figures, each more bizarre and imaginative than the last. These works reflect the era's fascination with the supernatural and the moral allegories embedded in these fantastical visions. Literature from this period also saw a rich development of the devil's character. Dante Alighieri's Inferno, part of his epic Divine Comedy, provides one of the most enduring images of Satan. Trapped in the frozen lake of Cocytus, gnawing on traitors, Dante's Lucifer is a figure of immense power and tragedy, embodying the ultimate consequence of rebellion against divine authority. In the early modern period, the devil continued to evolve as a character in literature. Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus and John Milton's Paradise Lost present the devil as a more complex and at times sympathetic figure. Marlowe's Mephistopheles is a cunning tempter, leading Faustus to damnation while expressing a melancholic awareness of his own fall from grace. Milton's Satan, on the other hand, is a tragic anti-hero, embodying the themes of pride, ambition, and defiance. "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven," he famously declares, encapsulating the essence of his character and the tragic grandeur of his rebellion. In modern times, the devil's representation in art and media has continued to evolve, reflecting contemporary concerns and cultural shifts. The devil often appears in more nuanced and diverse forms, symbolizing not only evil, but also the complexity of human nature and moral ambiguity. In film and television, the devil has been portrayed in various ways, from the suave and charming antagonist in The Devil's Advocate to the more comical and satirical representations in Bedazzled and Lucifer. These modern interpretations often explore the devil's role in human affairs with a mix of horror, humor, and philosophical inquiry, questioning the nature of evil and free will. Contemporary literature also delves into the devil's character with fresh perspectives. Neil Gaiman's Sandman series presents Lucifer as a sophisticated and weary ruler of hell, who eventually abdicates his throne in a quest for freedom. This portrayal emphasizes themes of autonomy, existentialism, and the struggle against destiny. In art, the devil continues to inspire. Artists like Francisco Goya and Salvador Dali have depicted diabolic themes in ways that challenge and provoke. Goya's Witch's Sabbath and Dali's surrealist works engage with the devil as a symbol of chaos, fear, and the subconscious. The varied depictions of the devil in art and literature serve as powerful symbols, reflecting the evolving human understanding of evil, morality, and the spiritual battle within. Historically, the grotesque and terrifying images serve to instill fear and moral discipline, reminding viewers of the consequences of sin and the reality of divine judgment. In modern interpretations, the devil often symbolizes the complexities of moral choices and the ambiguity of human nature. The suave, charming devil in contemporary media challenges the black and white perception of good and evil, inviting audiences to explore the gray areas of ethical dilemmas and the nature of temptation. The devil's presence in art and literature also serves as a mirror to society's anxieties and cultural shifts. From medieval fears of damnation to modern existential questions, the devil reflects the deepest concerns and preoccupations of each era. This enduring figure invites continuous reflection and re-examination of what it means to confront evil, both in the world and within ourselves. Personal stories and testimonies of encounters with evil provide a profound and intimate glimpse into the human experience of confronting darkness. These narratives, whether grounded in religious belief or personal interpretation, reveal the transformative power of facing what is perceived as the diabolical. One compelling testimony comes from the life of Saint Teresa of Avila, a 16th-century Spanish mystic and reformer. In her autobiography, Teresa describes numerous encounters with demonic forces, including physical attacks and spiritual oppressions. These experiences, while terrifying, strengthened her faith and resolve. She recounted how prayer and trust in God provided her with the strength to withstand these assaults, transforming her trials into profound spiritual insights. Another modern account is that of M. Scott Peck, a psychiatrist who documented his encounters with what he believed to be genuine cases of possession in his book, People of the Lie. Peck, initially a skeptic, became convinced of the reality of evil as a personal force through his clinical work. His reflections emphasize the need for a holistic approach to understanding and confronting evil, integrating psychological, spiritual, and social dimensions. These personal testimonies often highlight the transformative nature of confronting evil. For many, such encounters lead to deeper spiritual awareness and growth. They illustrate a journey from fear to empowerment, from confusion to clarity, as individuals grapple with and overcome their darkest fears. The stories of exorcists, both past and present, offer further insights. Father Gabriele Amorth, the former chief exorcist of Rome, described his work in exorcism as a battle against the forces of darkness. His experiences, chronicled in books and interviews, provide a vivid picture of the spiritual warfare that he believed was a daily reality. Amorth's reflections emphasize the importance of faith, the power of prayer, and the necessity of spiritual discipline in combating evil. For many believers, these encounters reaffirm the presence of a spiritual dimension to life, underscoring the reality of supernatural good and evil. They highlight the importance of spiritual vigilance and the belief in divine protection and intervention. The devil's depiction in art and literature, along with personal testimonies of encounters with evil, offers a rich tapestry of human engagement with the concept of evil. These narratives and images serve not only as reflections of cultural and historical contexts, but also as profound explorations of the human condition. They invite us to consider the nature of evil, the power of faith, and the enduring quest for understanding and overcoming the darkness within and around us. In our modern age, theology continues to evolve, challenging and reinterpreting ancient doctrines to address contemporary concerns and insights. One significant area of this evolution is the understanding of the devil. Progressive theology, with its emphasis on social justice, inclusivity, and the dynamic nature of divine revelation, offers fresh perspectives on this age-old figure. Progressive theologians often approach the devil not as a literal, personal being, but as a symbol of systemic evil and oppression. This shift reflects a broader tendency in progressive thought to focus on the structural and communal aspects of sin and redemption. In this view, the devil represents the various forces that dehumanize and marginalize individuals and communities: racism, sexism, economic exploitation, and environmental destruction. James Cone, a pioneer of Black liberation theology, exemplifies this approach. He reinterprets traditional concepts of evil in light of the African American experience, identifying the devil with the systemic racism that perpetuates injustice and suffering. For Cone and other liberation theologians, Exorcising the devil involves dismantling oppressive systems and structures, thereby incarnating the kingdom of God through social transformation and justice. Feminist theology also contributes to this discourse by critiquing patriarchal structures and redefining the concept of evil. Theologians like Rosemary Radford Ruther argue that traditional portrayals of the devil have often been used to justify the subjugation of women. By reimagining the devil, feminist theology seeks to liberate both women and men from the damaging stereotypes and power dynamics that have historically been ascribed to gender roles. This progressive reimagining of the devil aligns with a broader trend in contemporary theology that emphasizes metaphor and symbol over literalism. The devil becomes a powerful image that encapsulates the reality of evil in the world, urging believers to confront and overcome it in tangible, transformative ways. Contemporary debates inevitably challenge traditional beliefs about the devil. These challenges arise from various quarters, including historical criticism, psychological insights, and interfaith dialogue. Historical criticism questions the development and context of biblical texts, shedding light on how the concept of the devil evolved over time. Scholars like Elaine Pagels, in her book, The Origin of Satan, explore how early Christian communities shaped their understanding of Satan in response to internal and external conflicts. This historical perspective reveals that the devil's image has been fluid and context-dependent, prompting modern theologians to reconsider the fixed and monolithic portrayals found in traditional doctrine. The rise of psychology has also significantly influenced contemporary theological debates about the devil. Figures like Carl Jung have proposed that what religious traditions identify as demonic may, in fact, be manifestations of the human psyche. Jung's concept of the shadow, the repressed and darker aspects of our personality, suggests that confronting the devil is an internal process of integrating these aspects into a more holistic self. This psychological approach invites believers to view the devil as a metaphor for inner struggles and personal growth, rather than an external adversary. Engaging with other religious traditions offers additional challenges and insights. Interfaith dialogue reveals that concepts of evil vary widely across cultures and religions. For example, Buddhism's focus on ignorance and attachment as the roots of suffering contrasts sharply with the personified evil of the devil in Christianity. Such dialogues encourage a rethinking of the devil that can incorporate and respect these diverse perspectives, fostering a more nuanced and inclusive theology. The future of theological discussions on the devil and evil is poised to continue this trajectory of reinterpretation and integration. Emerging trends indicate a move towards a more holistic and interconnected understanding of evil that transcends traditional dualisms. As environmental crises become increasingly urgent, ecological theology is likely to play a significant role in shaping future discourse. This field emphasizes the interconnectedness of all life and the moral imperative to care for creation. The devil, in this context, can be reinterpreted as the forces of greed, exploitation, and disconnection that threaten the planet's well-being. This perspective calls for a communal and ecological approach to combating evil, one that integrates spiritual, social, and environmental dimensions. The globalization of theology, with contributions from diverse cultural and religious contexts, will further enrich and complicate our understanding of the devil. Theological voices from the global South, for example, often emphasize communal and cosmological aspects of evil, drawing on indigenous traditions and experiences. These perspectives challenge Western individualism and invite a more communal and relational approach to theology. Postmodern theology, with its skepticism of grand narratives and emphasis on plurality and difference, will continue to influence discussions about the devil. This approach deconstructs traditional binaries of good and evil, suggesting that these categories are fluid and constructed. It encourages a humble and open-ended exploration of evil, one that acknowledges ambiguity and complexity. Contemporary theological debates about the devil are rich and multifaceted, reflecting a dynamic interplay between tradition and innovation. Progressive theology, historical criticism, psychological insights, and interfaith dialogue all contribute to a deeper and more nuanced understanding of this enigmatic figure. As we move forward, the ongoing conversation about the devil will undoubtedly continue to evolve, challenging us to reconsider our assumptions and expand our theological horizons. Through this process, we gain a more profound appreciation for the complexity of evil and the enduring quest for redemption and justice in our world. As we draw our exploration to a close, let us revisit the key findings and themes that have guided our journey through the dark and enigmatic terrain of the devil's role in faith and history. We began by questioning the reality of the devil and its profound implications on our understanding of good and evil. We examined the biblical and historical foundations, tracing the devil's origins and significance through sacred texts and theological interpretations. From the prideful fall depicted in Ezekiel to the accusatory role of Satan in the book of Job, we saw how the devil has been portrayed as both a tempter and adversary. Our journey continued through the cultural and comparative contexts, where we explored how different mythologies and religious traditions depict evil entities. We considered the devil's impact on Judeo-Christian thought, noting the evolution of this figure over time and its persistent influence on literature, art, and popular culture. We ventured into the realm of theological perspectives and debates, grappling with the paradoxical nature of the devil as a necessary evil for the exercise of free will and moral choice. We discussed how contemporary theology, especially progressive movements, reinterprets the devil in light of social justice and systemic evil. The historical discoveries and modern impacts section illuminated how archaeological findings and cultural influences have shaped our understanding of the devil. From Qumran texts to the comparative analysis with neighboring cultures, we saw the intricate web of historical and theological threads that weave the devil's narrative. Finally, we delved into personal and cultural reflections, examining how the devil has been depicted in art and literature throughout history, and how individuals' encounters with evil have shaped their spiritual insights and testimonies. The enduring significance of the stories and revelations we have explored lies not merely in their historical or theological value, but in their profound impact on our moral and spiritual consciousness. The figure of the devil, whether viewed as a literal being or a powerful symbol, challenges us to confront the reality of evil within and around us. It invites us to reflect on the nature of our choices, the strength of our convictions, and the depth of our faith. The devil's narrative is a mirror reflecting humanity's perennial struggle with sin, suffering, and redemption. It calls us to be vigilant, to seek wisdom, and to strive for goodness even in the face of profound darkness. This exploration, while deeply rooted in religious tradition, transcends specific doctrines, offering universal insights into the human condition. As we navigate our own spiritual journeys, may we draw strength from the knowledge that the battle between good and evil, light and darkness, is a shared experience that unites us across time and cultures. The stories we have uncovered remind us that we are not alone in this struggle, and that the pursuit of truth, justice, and compassion is a noble and necessary endeavor. If this exploration has resonated with you, I invite you to continue this journey with us. Subscribe to our channel to stay updated on future videos that delve into the depths of faith, history, and the human spirit. Like this video if you found it insightful, and leave your comments and thoughts below. Your feedback is invaluable, and we welcome your suggestions for future topics to explore. Join our community of seekers and thinkers, and let us together uncover the mysteries that shape our world and our souls. Share this video with others who might find it enlightening, and let us foster a dialogue that enriches our understanding and broadens our perspectives. Morning Devotion for Strength. O Lord, as the dawn breaks and a new day begins, I come before you seeking your strength and guidance. In the quiet of this morning, I lift my heart to you, asking for the courage and fortitude to face the day ahead. Fill me with your power, that I may walk in your ways and accomplish all that is set before me. Grant me the resilience to overcome any obstacles that may arise and the wisdom to make decisions that honor you. When I am weary, be my source of strength. When I am unsure, be my light and my guide. Help me to trust in your unfailing love and to draw upon your endless grace. Lord, as I embark on the tasks of this day, may I do so with a spirit of diligence and joy. Let my actions be a reflection of your love, and my words an encouragement to those around me. Strengthen my resolve to do what is right and good, even when it is difficult. In moments of challenge, remind me that I am never alone. You are with me, upholding me with your righteous right hand. Give me the patience to endure and the faith to believe that you are working all things for my good. As I go through this day, let me be mindful of your presence in every moment. Fill me with your peace, that I may remain calm in the face of stress and adversity. Let your Spirit guide my thoughts and actions, that I may bring glory to your name in all that I do. Thank you, O Lord, for the gift of this new day and for the strength you provide. May I live this day with a heart full of gratitude and a spirit filled with your power. In your strength, I find my courage. In your love, I find my peace. In your holy name I pray. Amen. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more inspirational content. Leave your comments below and let us know how this video has impacted your journey of faith. Until next time, may the peace of Christ be with you always.